Agent Orange is a potent herbicide used by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. In 1966 and 1967, limited testing of Agent Orange took place at CFB Gagetown in Oromocto, New Brunswick. This testing has left a legacy of uncertainty and concern, particularly for the Oromocto First Nation community. The long-term effects of exposure to this herbicide continue to raise questions and fuel investigations. The Oromocto First Nation, whose traditional territory encompasses the area around CFB Gagetown, has been particularly vocal in expressing their concerns. Many community members believe they have experienced health problems as a result of exposure to Agent Orange. Agent Orange contains a highly toxic dioxin known as TCD, which can persist in the environment and accumulate in the food chain. This persistence raises concerns about the potential for chronic health problems even decades after exposure. The uncertainty surrounding the long-term effects of Agent Orange exposure stems from the nature of the chemical itself. In 2007, the Canadian government established a $95.6 million compensation fund for Canadian veterans exposed to Agent Orange. This fund was a significant step towards acknowledging the potential harm caused by the herbicide. However, it also sparked controversy and raised questions about the adequacy of the compensation and the scope of the program. Despite these efforts, the government's response has been met with mixed reactions. Some critics argue that the compensation amount is insufficient to cover the long-term health costs associated with Agent Orange exposure. Others have questioned the eligibility criteria for the program, arguing that it excludes some veterans who deserve compensation. A Maine commission recently called for a new investigation into the use of Agent Orange at CFB Gagetown, alleging that previous Canadian reports were biased. This call for a new probe highlights the ongoing debate surrounding the government's handling of the Agent Orange issue. The call for a new investigation into the use of Agent Orange at CFB Gagetown reflects a broader desire for transparency and accountability. Many questions remain unanswered, particularly regarding the extent of the contamination and the full range of potential health effects. One of the key concerns driving the push for a new investigation is the potential for long-term environmental contamination. While the Canadian government has conducted environmental studies in the past, some experts argue that these studies were not comprehensive enough. Another area of concern is the potential for transgenerational health effects. Studies have shown that exposure to Agent Orange can have epigenetic effects, potentially increasing the risk of certain health problems in future generations. The call for a new investigation is also fueled by a lack of trust in the government's handling of the Agent Orange issue. Some critics argue that the government has not been transparent enough in its investigations and has downplayed the potential risks. The legacy of Agent Orange at CFB Gagetown serves as a stark reminder of the enduring impact of environmental contamination. Decades after the herbicide was tested, concerns remain about its potential effects on the health of both humans and the ecosystem. One of the primary environmental concerns is the potential for Agent Orange to contaminate the water supply. The base is located near the St. John River, a major waterway that provides drinking water to communities downstream. In addition to water contamination, there are concerns about the potential for Agent Orange to impact wildlife populations. Studies have shown that exposure to Agent Orange can have harmful effects on a range of animal species, including birds, fish, and mammals. These effects can include reproductive problems, birth defects, and increased susceptibility to diseases. The potential for harm to both human and environmental health underscores the need for continued vigilance and a commitment to addressing any lingering contamination. Despite numerous studies and investigations, the full impact of Agent Orange on the Oromocto First Nation and the surrounding environment remains unclear. While some studies have shown a link between Agent Orange exposure and certain health problems, others have been inconclusive. Several studies have been conducted to assess the health of individuals who may have been exposed to Agent Orange at CFB Gagetown. These studies have examined a range of health outcomes, including cancer, birth defects, and respiratory problems. The inconclusive nature of some of these studies can be attributed to challenges in accurately measuring exposure levels and the long latency period between exposure and the development of health problems. Despite these challenges, it is crucial that research into the long-term effects of Agent Orange exposure continues. The ongoing investigations and research efforts are essential for understanding the full impact of Agent Orange on the Oromocto First Nation and the surrounding environment. By continuing to study the issue and being transparent with the findings, we can work towards addressing the concerns of those affected and ensuring that history does not repeat itself.